This is Gemara in Makkos, Daf Chof Aleph, and all the learning has been sponsored as an incredible zchos refuah shalema for Tinok ben Miriam Ahuva b'siyata d'shmaya. The incredible power the Koyach HaTorah should bring Tinok ben Miriam Ahuva a complete refuah shalema. And we pick it up from the bottom, or about 12 lines from the bottom. V'mesarit srita achas v'chulu. The Mishnah taught that within the list of Makkos is someone who makes a single cut. Says the Gemara, Tanu Rabbana, and the Pasuk says Visarat. Yochel, I would think I feel Sarat al Beisa Shenafal. Valsvinasa Shetava Bayam. I would think that the Isser of making a cut on oneself is even if one stam hears bad news, his house fell down, Rahman al-Islan, or his boat sunk. Lemaisa, you cut yourself, and that's the Isser. That's Visarat. Talmud Loimar L'Nefesh continues the pasuk, and it says L'Nefesh for a soul which teaches Enechayev Ella Ala Meis Bilvad. Uminay in the Misarid Chamesh Shvitas Al Meis Echad. How do you know if you made 5 cuts on one mace? Shu Chayev Al Kol Achas V'Achas Talmud Loimar Visarat L'Chayev Al Kol Shrita Usrita Shita of the Tana Kama. Rav Yosi Aimer says Rav Yosi. Minayim limizarei tzridachas alei meisim shuchayiv akolachas vachas. How do we know if you make one srita, one cut on 5 dead bodies, chayiv in each and every one? Talmud Leimer says Rav Yosi lenefesh lechayiv al kol nefesh and nefesh. So again, the case of Rav Yosi is one cut for 5 mesim. The first case was what? Lemisarit chamish shvitos on 1 mace. That the Tanakhama says Yechaya 5. Rav Yosi adds on. Even if you make 1 cut, but it's on the impending news of 5 mesim, Yechaya 5. Why? For each and every mace. Asks the Gemara 1 second. Says Mara, wait. We just used that word lenefesh to teach us that you only chayiv lenefesh and not for stam bad news. So ask the Gemara. So how could Rav Yosi learn that this word is going to teach us that you're chayiv for each mace, even if you only did 1 cut? As we turn over to Chaval Famanalev, says the Gemara. You know why? Because of Rav Yosi srita ugedida. Achasi, Rav Yosi holds a srita and a gedida are all the same, even though they're 2 different words. And therefore, uksev asam limeis. So according to Rav Yosi, it's true that the pasuk lenefesh can't be used, but the pasuk limeis could be used. It's the same iser, and the Tab Rashi spells out that both of these are being biyad being bikli, and by gedida limeis leisiskoidelu v'sisim karcha b'ninich. And therefore, that's how Rav Yosi is going to learn that if you did 1 cut for 5 mesim, you'll be chayiv 5 times. Amar Shmuel continues the Gemara. Hamisared bekli chayiv. If you cut yourself with a kli, you're chayiv. Asks the Gemara, and Rashi, the second line spells out pshit l'kuli amadek gdida masha bekli v'kasrita masha biyat. So what's the chiddush of Shmuel? That if you make a cut with a kli al amez you're chayiv, and don't say magadid bekli lashmina and the shem srita shayach bekli for his chabura ba'atzu kli al amez chayiv shnei lavin. So Shmuel teaches a chiddush that the loisigai do and the iser srita combine. And therefore, if you do a cut with a kli, which is a form of sisgai to do, but you do it for a mace, you're chayiv too, Dr. Rashi. That's the chiddush of Shmuel. Mishum misaret and mishum megadid. Tekdido srita achas utedavai be'miyad be'mekli says the Heliga Shmuel. Ask the Gemara in the 3rd line. Meisvei srita gedida achasi. What do you mean? Ask the Gemara. We just said they're one and the same. Ella. Shasrita biyad ugdida bekli. So ask the Gemara. Shmuel seems to say not that way. According to the Brisa, there would not be 2 different chiyuvim. Answers the Gemara. Udamar Rav Yosi Tani, who he holds like Rav Yosi that we just learned that there are 2 different isurim. Asks the Gemara. Tani Tani Kamed Rav Yechon. Ala meis b'mi abimi kli chayiv. Alva is chachavim biyad chayiv v'kli potter. If the cut is made ala meis chayiv, and every way you do it. But if you did it in a form of avodah zara, then biyad chayiv v'kli potter. Ask the Gemara, I v'ayvach ksiv v'yiskadu k'mishpatam v'charvais ubin ramachim. The pasuk says, "Al Yom Har Carmel, v'yiskadu they cut themselves k'mishpatam according to their rules." B'charavais u'marachim with spears and with swords. We see that avodah zara is indeed with spears and swords is indeed bikli. Answers the Gemara on the first wide line. El'ema biyad potter, flip it around, but bikli indeed you will be chayiv. Continues the Gemara of chayiv al rosh. We learned that if you round the head corners of your head, you're chayiv too. Machli Rav Shishes being empirical reishe between the joints of the head. Rav Shishes being a good rabbi and pointing out where these points are on the corner of your head. Rav Shishes pointed that this is between the joints of the beard. And of course, these are all machlekisim lemaisa, exactly where they are. Rav Elazar, Nautlan says, Rav Elazar, if you removed all 5 corners at once, then you're chayiv only one. Says the Gemara, Rav Elazar is of the opinion that it's all one lav. Veina chayiv ad sheyilu betar to use a razor. Tani Rabban on the 5th line teaches the Gemara, quoting the Apostle, should not shave the corner of the beard. It says, I would think you're chayiv even if you use a scissor. It has to be destroying. And destroying is only if it comes down to the actual root of the cutting. Ask the Gemara, any form of destruction, even a plane, even without a razor, yechayiv. What is giluach? What is shaving that has ashchasa, that includes destruction, removing from the root? That is with a razor. If you looked up a Makkos, says you are indeed chayiv even to use these other instruments. Says the Gemara, 1 second. Whichever way you look at it. So where does Rav Elazar come up with his middle level? Answers Gemara, Rav Elazar is of the opinion that even a maklit and ritani also perform a form of giluach, a form of shaving, and that is the reason why he holds that are going to be chayiv. We continue with the Mishnah in the middle of Chaval V'Amralim, continuing the Esurim of Malkis. HaKoisev Ksuvas Karka, someone who makes a tattoo on his skin, Ksav V'Loy Kiaka, if he wrote but he didn't prick it into the skin, he didn't make it into the tattoo. Or Kiaka, you tattooed it into the skin, V'Loy Kasaf, but he didn't actually write anything. You're only chayiv until you do both. You write and it's pricked, it's pushed into the skin. B'yadai ubechol, continues the Mishnah, b'diyai bechol, if it's with ink or with blue dye, ubechol davar, anything shuraishav that makes an impression, Shimon Yehuda, B'Shimon Shimon Amein chayiv ashiyechtav shem. The only way you're going to be chayiv is if you write the shem Hashem, as we'll see in the Gemara. Ashiyechtav shem, as Hashem ne'emar, shenemar, you're in the chayiv until shiyechtav sham, as Hashem, shenemar ksuv iskakol yitnu b'chem, ani Hashem. Says the Gemara, Rav Shimon Yehuda ended off the Mishnah teaching us that if you use other implements, you only chayiv if you write the shem. Says the Gemara, Amar le Rav Acha Breid Rav Ashi Adi Yechtav Ani Hashem Mamish. You have to actually write on his flesh, Ani Hashem. Is that what you mean? Amar le no, that's not what I mean. So if you write acher, you write avodah zara, then that is going to be the Isser. And of course, this is something that unfortunately we see people tattooing Shem avodah zara on their skin, and that is where Shimon holds is the Isser of Ksuves Kaka. Continues the Gemara, Amar Malchai, Amar Avada Barava, also Adam, Sheetan Efer, Markel Agabi Makkos, one is not let to put miklashes on his wound to heal it. Why? Shenir as kiksevis kaka looks like tattooing. Why? Because it leaves a mark on the skin. Amar Rav Nachum Rav Ika Shfai Shapachos v'Goymais, that a spit, maidservants, and pores, Rav Malkayai, those were halacha said by Rav Malkayai, Blurius, lacha of hair, afer of ashes, afer makla, ugvina, and cheese, Rav Malkayah. So two different people, the Gemara is quantifying, one is Rav Malkayah, and one is Rav Malkayah. Pabar masisa numasnita Rav Malkayah, shemaitza Rav Malkayah. Simanach masita malchesa, my beinayu beignayu shvachais. So it's a shayla who said what? Rav Bibi par Abaye kabed afilu arivda de kusilta. Rav Bibi bar Abaye was even makbid that ashes should not even put on a little puncture on the skin because it looks like tattooing. Rav Ashi Amar call makam sheishim shamaka, the exact opposite. Makkos love says Rav Ashi. If you have a cut and you're putting like a top of the cut, then it's clear that you're not making a tattoo, and therefore it will be mutter. We continue with the next Mishnah. Says the Mishnah, Nazir Sheishesi Yankul Ayoim, you had this a few days ago, in a chayav alachas, you're drinking wine the whole day, only chayav one. But if the Eidim said, Amr Loi, 6 lines to the bottom, Al Tishta, Vushais, and you chayav that, and you drink, then chayav kolachas vachas. Hay metami, let me kol ayoim, if a kohen is becoming tamei meis, or a Nazir is coming tamei meis the whole day, in a chayav alachas. Amr Loi, Al Tam, if metami, then chayav kolachas vachas. Again, the Nazir is shaving in a chayv alachas. Of course, the Nazir is not allowed to shave, not allowed to cut his ear. Continues the Mishnah, moving off of the Nazir, but Stama Yid who's wearing Klayim all day. Shan is in a chayv alachas. On the last line, but Amr Loy al Tishbash al Tilbash, if you told him don't wear, she takes it on and off, then he's chayiv al kolachas v'achas. And we turn over to Chav Aleph Amid Beis. Continues the Gemara. Yesh chayrish telemecha. There are those that could be chayrish, that could plow one furrow, excuse me. V'chayiv ala mishum shemaina lavim. Yechayiv 8 lavim. What is the case? HaChayrish, you plow, and if this sounds familiar, it's because we had it in Psachim. Bishar v'chamar, you plow with an ox and a donkey together. Number 1, it's Kalayim. Number 2, in Muktashim, it's Hektish. Number 3, Uklaya Karen. And you're plowing, Kalayim. You're plowing items that are mixed in the ground. Number 4, Bishviz. Number 5, Yantim. Number 6, V'kayim. Number 7, Biznazir, B'beisa. Toma, excuse me, that was number 8. Chanani ben Chachinai Oimer. Afalovish Kalayim, Amr Lo Inoy Hashem. Amr Lehem, Afanazir Lo Hashem. So Chanani ben Chachinai adds on, also if you're wearing kalayim, there could be a 9th isser. The Chacham responded, no, Inoy Shem, it's a separate thing. You're right, he's over, but it's 2 totally different things. It's not within the same action. And Amr Lehem, Av Nazir Lo Yashem. Nazir is also a different shame, and therefore that would also not be included. Continues the Gemara. Amr Rabbi Ibrahim, Rabbi Shabamish, Avila Machzum Mighty Beis Yad Unkali Shalai. What is the case? Yechai multiple Yisurim for the shatnez? Is it that you took it on and off mamish, or you just put your hand in and out of the shirt? Machli Ravacha Brid Ravika Lui Lafuke, slipping in and out. Even machlek is what this means, but l'chayr, even just putting your arm in and out. Ravashi Amar Afilu Isha Elikdei Livshev Livash Chayiv. Even if you only wore it the amount of time, take it on and off, even though you didn't actually change, but you wore it that amount of time after Hasra, that will create its own separate chiyuv. We continue about 12 lines down. Tell them zon who could plow 1 furrow, and you have 8 isurim as we learned in the Mishnah. Amar Rav Yanei bechabura nimnu v'gamru. At the chabura, they counted and they taught ha'chayfa b'kalayim like it. Someone covers seeds of kalayim with earth, he also gets malchus. Covering it with action is considered an act of plowing. Our Mishnah, Yesh Chayrish Telemecha V'Chayv Allah Mishum Shemana Lavin Chayrish B'Shar V'Chamar Ben Muktashnu Klayim B'Karen, and you're plowing what? Klaya Karen, different species. Says the Gemara, Hay Chayrish T'Mechayv Mishum Klayim Echa B'Shkach. So what is the case that you're plowing and you're chayiv because of it? Explains the Gemara, Lavdim Achasi B'Adei Dazel. It's not that you're covering it over. So we already learned that merely covering over the 2 items is considered a separate isser. Amar later, Rav Yani responds, he loved it, Deloy Ilach, Chasba, if I had now lifted up a shard for you, Mi Mishkachas Marganita, would you have found a pearl? With not the fact that I explained that you're chayiv for just covering it, you would never have understood the Mishnah. Meaning, I told you you're chayiv for just covering over Kalayim. Then you're like, oh, that's what the Mishnah said, Shkoyach. You only knew that's the case of the Mishnah because what I said. Marganita Tuta. Amli Rish Lakish Rav Yechon, he loved the Kilslach Gavra, Rabba of a great man, Rav Yaneh, and I praised you by agreeing with you that this was the case of the Mishnah. I mean, you know what I would have said? He said, Mani Rabbi Akivi, that we could have thought that the Mishnah is learning not that it's considered an act of planting by covering it over, but rather you're being Mekayim, the maintaining Kalayim also gets Makkos. Says the Gemara, who is this? Rabbi Akiva, my Rabbi Akiva, the Tanya. One who pulls out weeds, one who covers seeds with earth, thereby creating kalayim, like it gets malchus. Rabbi Akiva, Afa Mekayim, even just by keeping them alive. My time with Rabbi Akiva. Titania, Sod, Chaloy Sizra Kalayim. Don't plant kalayim. In the Elazerei, planting Mekayim. I'm not even chayiv for sustaining them. From both psukim, Rabbi Akiva learns a chiddush, even chayiv not for only planting, but even just keeping them alive. Pick it up from here, B'siyata Dishmaya.